Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming my May favorite, which means I've been doing my monthly favorites for 2 years. I started in May 2018 and here we are. Makes me a bit excited, a bit emotional, and a bit like, what am I even doing in my life? I don't even know. We're already quite a far bit into June when I'm filming this and it's fine. I just need to think about May and I'm like, what even happened? So most of May I used to finish up my thesis because my second draft deadline was like the 24th. I used a lot of time on that. Mostly I wanted to play and read, but I didn't get to do that as much as I wanted to. But I did manage to finish. I delivered my thesis the 2nd of June. The 3rd, I mean. It's over. I never have to think about it again. I mean, I'm thinking about it because I wonder what grade I would get, but it is over now. I did, however, still watch and of course read things in June, so I will talk about some of my faves here as always. We'll talk about what I watched first this time around, and I have 2 things I want to talk about today that I watched, and first of all is Shira, Princesses of Power. Am I saying the title wrong? I might be. So Shira is actually a remake of an old version of the show where like everyone was very sexualized and stuff, and here it is made into that they're cool and badass but they're not overly sexualized, which was very normal for like female warriors, princesses, whatever back in the day. Still normal some places but not as much, and here instead of like, for example, Shira becoming the hero she is through her like cousin or brother or something, she becomes it on her own, which is great. And it is very gay, very queer, and full of sparkles. It is just the most adorable thing. The animation is super cute. And the story is where like they are fighting the Horde, and Adora, who was with the Horde, finds out that she's Shira and she switches sides over to the rebellion against the Horde. And there's this whole thing with the Horde that like we could never imagine. There's like the story develops in a very different way than I thought it would. When I watched it, I thought, for example, about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I thought it would be like one case solving thing in every single episode, which like Avatar has, which I love that format, like I don't mind it, but Shira is a bit like that, but then it like grows so much, and the ending was so good, and the last season was so good. They hit the nail so hard, the nail in the coffin, is that what it's called? I cried in almost every single episode. It was so emotional and it's so good. I feel like no one is talking about it. Everyone is talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Dragon Prince, which are both 2 great shows, but if you like those 2, I think you will love Shira. It is just so sweet and the ending is so gay. I couldn't imagine it. It's basically best friends to rivals to enemies to lovers, or to like friends to lovers-ish. It's the best thing. I cannot describe it. I hope they are well, and I hope you would watch the show because it's so good. I feel like I could spend a long time dwelling into like what Shira did so well, but I feel like that would be a whole video on its own. But just know I love it and I loved it and I'm still not over it. So me and my best friend was gonna like watch their last season like slowly, and I would just like binge the whole thing almost in one day because we couldn't stop watching, and I want to cry. Okay, I want to cry. The second thing I want to talk about in this video is How to Get Away with Murder. So the reason I'm mentioning it here is because I've been watching this for many years, and now it's over forever, and I wanted to just have a few moments to talk about it. I wanted to maybe make an own review video for it, but I don't really review TV shows that much anymore except here, so I don't know. I wanted to. The same with Shira, since they're both over, we will see, but right now I'm just doing it here. And How to Get Away with Murder is actually following these 5 law students who commits murder and then they get away with it over and over again, I would say. And Viola Davis plays Annalise Keating, who is like their lawyer / mentor. She's so great in this. I don't have words, and it devolves a lot from there. And we just had the last season and it was very emotional because it's one of the shows that when I had my TV binging shows period of my life, I started, and I actually stuck with it. There's many I started and I haven't finished because I started to read again, but this one I stuck with because I had invested so much in it. So yeah, I just love it. Okay, I love the characters. It is a bit like, of course, overly dramatic like any TV show. Like, it's not realistic, but it's fun. Okay, and you start to care for the characters so deeply. The end was very sweet, however I feel like it was very rushed. They kind of tricked us too. I wanted more to see in the end how everyone ended up, but we kind of just ended it. So that was a bit disappointing, but overall I really enjoyed it, and I just felt like mentioning it here that I watched the whole thing now. One day I will probably want to rewatch it. It's very, very sweet. Not sweet, it's very dramatic, sweet, and I love the way they always told the story in a way that in the beginning of each season we get like a flash forward to how it will end up, and then we go throughout the episode to see how we will end up there, and there's always so many plot twists and you never get to imagine how it actually happened, so there's very like intricate always. But yeah, they were all crazy, let's be real. Okay, so those were the two things I wanted to mention here that I watched and really enjoyed. Actually, two things I guess I finished. It would be nice if I ever started to talk about TV on my channel again, right? Now to mention a few things that I read. So I had a really hard time choosing my faves for reading things because I gave everything 4 stars except 2 rereads, and I'm not counting those in here because I've already favorized them another time. Since I gave everything 4 stars, they're all kinda in the same place, even though of course ratings for each books are different in a way, if you know what I mean. But I took the ones that stuck with me the most afterwards. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the other ones, but it's just the ones that I thought a lot about while reading them. And yeah, so first of all we have Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. This one is a adult historical fiction following 5 generations of a Korean family that also moves to Japan, and then we follow the different generations and how they live. So it starts in the 1900s and then it ends in 1980s. So we go through the whole war and everything, and there's a lot of things going on. So I won't spend a long time talking about this because like I will talk about all this in my wrap up and stuff. The reason it stuck so much with me is first of all because we care so much about these characters and this family. Like we become so invested in their lives, but also just wanting to see them all okay, seeing through generations how the family develops. It started with these 2 characters and then it just evolved into this whole thing, and it was just so amazing, and it makes me appreciate historical fiction, even though I always enjoyed it, but I haven't read that much of it. And like family fiction, isn't that what it's called, like when you follow a family through generations? So if you have good recommendations for that, please leave it down below, preferably POC, because it was just so good. They really stuck with me. I want more from this family, and I want more of these kinds of books because I just was so in this. I don't have words. I was so in this, and I just thought about it a lot when I was not reading it. Really, really good. I have the Norwegian arc. I don't know why. It was much longer in Norwegian too than the English one too. So that is the thing. We then have another adult book. This is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This one starts with this fire, and then we go back in time to find out how this fire started. We have the Warren family that runs this house from the Richardsons, and they also became friends, and then we find out their intricate relationships and also the backgrounds for the Warren family, and also like white privilege and a lot of like racism and different things here. There's also this case where this white family wants to adopt a Chinese baby, and then the Chinese mother, who did give up the baby because she was in a real bad place, wants the baby back. So that case also like gives a wedge in between the families because they both take one side each in the situation. And this book was just so good. It's so weird for me to like have these as like the books that stuck with me so much, because like usually I read like a lot of YA. I do read adult here and there, but these 2 were just so good. I don't have words. And this one, the characters and the mystery and just how the story developed, the writing, when we dove into the past, also the whole case with like the Chinese baby. I talk a lot about that in my wrap up, but overall I am Chinese and I was adopted, so by a valued families. The mindset here was like very, I'm not saying that my situation is any means similar, but like I definitely thought about myself, since one of the arguments for the Chinese mother to keep the baby was that she would be separated from her Chinese heritage, and I am here and I am separated from my Chinese heritage like a lot. So it was definitely a lot of thoughts around this. I don't even still know kind of which side I'm on even though of course money is not everything, just because maybe the baby would have a better money-filled home, but parents were loving too though. But the Chinese part was also like the heritage part, and also that they were kind of like how they were gonna insert it in her life was like kind of what the heck, but also being with a mother who actually wants her. it was a very complicated situation, and I'm still conflicted about it, and I really want to watch the TV show to see how it's seen there. And of course, like, this is discussion, is there's no, I don't even know what I thought about it. I still don't. I just feel like it was so intricate, and having all these thoughts and everything was just so intense. Of course, like, Elena Richardson, the mother of the Richardsons, she was such a bitch. And I don't agree with her in any way. I'm not saying that I agree with people in specifically. I don't want to come off as that. Point is, it had so many themes and so many things. I think there was a lot of things to unravel in this, and I don't have the word for it, but overall so good, made me think so much. And then the last fave for me was actually The Promised Neverland by Shira Volume 5. So I actually had Volume 4 in one of my favorites last year, and then it was one of my faves for the whole year. And while I didn't think that this blew my mind the same way as Volume 4, it was still so good. It was so good to be back to this story. I don't know how to tell you what this story is about because spoilers, but basically it's these kids in this orphanage, and there's this secrets that comes out because they think you're all happy, but they are not. And even though it says behind on the first one, I didn't know it when I started it. So I feel like I didn't want to spoil you because I want you to have the same experience that I did. Point is that this is so twisted and so intense, and it has like kind of this cliche setup, but it just breaks from it and just does things with it that I never seen before. Like, it's so good and clever, and also like so scary and creepy, and I just loved it so much. I want to catch up on the whole thing. I just can't deal with this. It's these kids, and they are just like more clever than I've ever been in my life. The writing is just so clever. Okay, so those were some thoughts on these books. I feel like I still have a hard time articulating my thoughts on Little Fires Everywhere, but just know that I enjoyed it and it made me think a lot, and I would love to like discuss it with Books Are Falling. I would love to discuss it with anyone because I feel like I'm just one person and reading and listening to other people is also important. That's it. So yeah, June is now here, and even though this did happen in June, since we are now in June, I actually got a new part-time job, and I'm so happy because I've been applying for jobs for months now, but because of the virus I haven't gotten one, which is fine, but now I did, and I'm so happy. Even though that did happen in June, so technically it should be my June favorites, but I'm mentioning it here. So yeah, since we are in the middle of June. Good work, Sandra. You will see me soon in a new video. I hope you enjoyed me just talking about some things, repeating myself on my wrap up and other things on my life updates. Bye!